Boom goes the dynamite. Welcome back into hour two of the most incendiary show on the radio. I turned the incendiariness down a notch for the first hour. We had a guest here in the studio, one of our great advertisers, Dr. Micah Walker with Men's Health of Mississippi. Yeah, guys, I'll kind of close with this. We ran out of time there, but, so if you follow me on Facebook or Instagram, my personal accounts, you know that I've gone from like 284 to 255 over the last, 30 days-ish. And they put me a before and after photo up there. And, my goal weight is 225. I don't mind sharing this with y'all. I don't mind y'all coming along this journey with me. My goal weight's 225. I want to lose another 30 pounds-ish. Maybe it's 25 pounds. Maybe it's 20. Well, I'll know when I get there. The doctor reached out and said, hey, we've got the semaglutide, the compounded semaglutide again, because I just saw your picture. He said, why don't we get you hooked up with that and help you get to your goal? He goes, with everything else you're doing, with the intermittent fasting, with the working out, with, the carnivore diet, keto, whatever it is. He said, you should see pretty good results, pretty quick. So I was like, you know what? I've done it before. I understand the ups, the downs, the challenges of it, and it's something I'm willing to try to do again. So a lot of the stuff I try to sell y'all on is stuff that I do myself. And if it's something I'm not comfortable with, I'm not going to pass that along to y'all. It's just I can't do that. That's just not how I work. So I'm going to be doing it too. And y'all can follow my journey, and I will give y'all weekly updates of the scales and photos, I guess. As much as I don't like posting photos of myself without a shirt on, I guess I will make a exception to prove a point. So anyway, if y'all are interested in that, man, text weight loss to 601-327-8550. And of course, I got you covered for all your testosterone replacement therapy needs as well. I highly recommend getting on both if you need it. The Guns of Gear text line, 769-241-1944. Mazda of Jackson phone line, 601-879-0002. Real quick, speaking of Mazda of Jackson, the deals are hot this summer at Mazda of Jackson. You already know that, though. Mazda is one of the top 5 most dependable car brands out there, and Mazda of Jackson on I-55 Frontage Road has hundreds of new and used cars available. How about the brand new CX-5 crossover? It's rated 9 out of 10 by Car and Driver. The CX-30 and the CX-90 SUVs both rated 9.5 out of 10. Why couldn't they have just given that other half point? Do they not give nobody a 10? Anyway, they're in stock now at Mazda of Jackson. Mazdas also include a limited lifetime powertrain warranty. Ask about the Mazda of Jackson special financing deals going on right now, too. It's time to choose Mazda. Mazda of Jackson, located right there, I-55 Frontage Road in Jackson, right at Briarwood. Or you can check them out online, MazdaofJackson.com. Again, if you want to call in this morning, we're about to talk about Jackson. The Mazda of Jackson phone line is 601-879-0002. Where is the mayor? Where is the mayor of Jackson? Where are any of the leaders in the city of Jackson? There was a mass shooting Friday night in Jackson. I ain't heard a peep. Where's the mayor talking about this literal dumpster fire that's been burning for 3 straight days? It may be out now after the big storm last night, but been burning since Saturday afternoon. Not a press conference, not a tweet. I got Twitter pulled up here. Let's see here. Let's see. The city of Jackson nor the mayor have tweeted in months. The last tweet that Antar put up, it was a retweet from MDOT that had a picture of him cutting a ribbon for some road work. Never wanted to miss an opportunity. I can respect that. That was March 27th. March 27th is the last time Antar tweeted anything, and it was of him doing something, taking credit for something. The city of Jackson, let's see here, city of JXN. The last time they tweeted from the official city account was March 17th. What happened in March that the city decided to quit using Twitter? Anyway, I just thought that was a little funny. Michelle, mass shooting. Now, I know, he knows, she know, everybody know that when these shootings are black on black, they're not mass shootings. Clay, that's just gang violence. Interpersonal beef, Clay. It's not mass shooting. Only white people with AR-15s are mass shooters. It's a black dude with a Glock switch. It's not a mass shooting. You're not supposed to talk about it, you bigot. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it because, again, hashtag for the culture strikes again. The rotten urban culture strikes again. One person dead, 5 others seriously injured in a nightclub shooting at the Daiquiri bar right there on Capitol Street. You may not know where the Daiquiri bar is. I used to own it back in the day. Not the Daiquiri bar, but I had a club there in that location. So I take a personal offense to this one. Me and Chip Matthews had one there called The Joint. It was a live music bar. And we used to play a lot. It was called Mother's. It was called the U-Pub. It's been several other things over the years. It's right there on the corner of Roach. Of course it's Roach. Of Roach and Capitol Street. Right catty-cornered from, if you're standing outside the Mayflower restaurant looking across the street, you're looking at it. If you're staying at the King Edward, you look downstairs, right across the street, you're looking at it. So, what's wild about this one, and I was going to ask where JPD was in this, but this is actually happening in the Capitol Police area. No shooter has been named. They haven't identified the shooter yet. I don't know if maybe the shooter is one of the 6 that were injured or dead. I don't know if he got away or what. Just heard the news update there in the break. Said that they have not identified any of the victims' names or any of that stuff yet. So I trust that the Capitol Police are doing their ever-loving best to get this figured out. I would like to hear something from them today, some kind of update on what's going on with it. Are there video? Do we know who the shooter is? But you know as well as I know that if that shooter had been white, this would be a whole nother story. Chokwe would be up there. It would be his moment in the sun. It would be his George Floyd moment. Ben Crump, Al Sharpton, Joy Reid, MSNBC, CNN. They'd all be skydiving out of planes on the Capitol Street right now. Parachuting. I see some racisms. But you get none of that. You get none of that free publicity for the city when it's just another black on black mass shooting. They don't care about that. That doesn't fit the narrative. This city is so broken. I was listening to Kenneth Stokes. Kenneth Stokes did an interview on Super Talk with Mary Whedon, I think that's her name. Mary does that good news show, whatever it is on there. And it's actually a really good interview. And Stokes uncorked. And I'll say, anybody that hadn't watched it or seen it, I got the YouTube clip. I don't mind sharing it with you. Because it's not about views and clicks for me. It's about people hearing the truth and proving my point. That Sean and I have been right every step of the way. And I hate to keep driving that home, but we get called liars and all this other stuff so much by other people in the media, mind you, that when we're right, we're going to spike the ball, son. But Stokes called it out, and I thought it was a really good interview. He talked about, it looks like that some of the people involved in this had till July 31st to accept whatever pleas they were being offered, or it was going to go to trial. Lee, I think she did the right thing. I mean, I'm not going to commend her for it, like I saw so many other people do, that it really shows her character that she stepped up and admitted her wrongs. No, it didn't. She did what was best for her because it was going to be the best deal to stay her ass out of prison or not to have to go as long. I don't commend her for it. She still did it. Aaron Banks, No, I want to say allegedly, because we don't know for sure, but allegedly involved. I mean, if you're sitting back there and you know dang well that you're having to do a special election for one of these seats, you probably end up having to do one for 2 to 3. If y'all are involved, do what's right by that. You ain't done nothing right by the city yet. Nothing. You have not done anything right by the city of Jackson in forever. Some of them never, because they ain't been on the board that long. The council, I mean. Do what's right and step down, and maybe you run again later if you're found to have not been involved. Or whatever. But you know, look, that's a Hail Mary there. The people are most likely involved in this thing. It's a moot point. Let's have one special election, save the city some money, and move on from this. Chokwe. I know I don't want Chokwe to step down. I want him to fight it. I want him to ride it out. I want a big old trial, court TV, all that. I want all that with Chokwe. I want to enjoy every minute of it, put it in my veins. Jody. Same for him. You know, I didn't know Anthony Fox before his situation with Jody and Chokwe. But I 100% believe in karma. And because I think Chokwe has something to do with, 100% think Chokwe has something to do with Jody pursuing Anthony. And I think this is karma coming back to bite them in the butt. And I think, of course, the garbage contract. Listening to Stokes on Super Talk, this all stems back to that garbage contract and that crap show that went on during that. And you got FBI offices right here in Jackson. Man, they see that. They see what's going on. You know, they just going to ignore it? Let's take a call here on the Mazda Jackson phone line. Hey, you're on there?
Yeah, this is Play Edward show.
Do I know? Yeah. Hey, you're on there?
Hey, yeah, Clay, okay, good. I'm making sure I got just a little drawback. It's interesting you brought up that the shooter was white downtown at the Daiquiri bar. You know, it'd be MSNBC and all them down here. Well, yeah, I guess we see since the public officials that are crooked or black, the cops came and got them a whole lot faster than that welfare scandal. But while we on public corruption, what do you think about the beef between Shad White and Mike Hurst in his little book and how he possibly interfered with the election? Because they stole a whole lot more money than Angelique Lee and all them folks in Jackson, and all the people involved in that still hadn't went to jail, while these black people on their way to jail or being prosecuted already. So what you think about that?
Well, I did a whole week's worth of show. Well, I'm going to hang up instead of having to hear my answer, but you can listen. We did a whole week's worth of shows about that last week, so you must be new here. If Shad White hadn't have rushed it and insisted on taking it to Jody Owens, all those people probably would have got arrested by the feds. But everybody was too busy spiking the ball and doing their touchdown dance before it was time to do it, that you possibly screwed yourselves out of being able to have all those people arrested. Again, we had Mike Hurst here on the show last Monday. Go back and listen to the podcast before anybody else. So are you calling in here trying to play that but what if game? We was already on it. We was on it before anybody else. So educate yourself before you try to call in here and get me some gotcha moment. We call it out no matter who's doing it, son. Mike Hurst sat right here and said they should have let the feds handle that case because of their resources. And there's no telling who else you may have got caught. But because Shad had to go grab that headline and write the book without an ending, there's no telling who they're not going to get. Now, rumors have it, you know, the doctor that Brett was a Van Landingham or whatever down in Florida that he was tied in with, he's been indicted. Brett may get indicted. We're going to find out. If he does, we'll talk about it. But I'm just still going to be honest. As bad as that is, What they've been doing to Jackson, they have intentionally let Jackson rot like a corpse while doing nothing but profiting themselves for way too long. That affects everybody. The welfare scandal sucks. And the people who actually got the money are in jail. The news are in jail. So I think some of y'all are half educated on that whole TAMP scandal because you just get so wrapped up in the white quarterback and Brett Favre. And I saw you get these idiots like Brad Franklin running around here doing documentaries and stuff that have nothing to do with it. It's just white people did black people wrong, stole welfare money. Well, I mean, are y'all saying only black people are on welfare? That's interesting. Let's take a break. We got a whole lot more to talk about this morning. We'll be right back on the Clay Edwards Show. Welcome back into the Clay Edwards Show here on WYAB. This segment brought to you by our friends over at Stonington Farm Grass-Fed Beef. They're going to be in town this Friday, so you got till Thursday around lunchtime to get your order in to experience the grass-fed difference. 100% grass-fed, 100% grass-finished, locally grown, whatever you want to call it, right here in Mississippi, down in Perkinston, Mississippi, a little further south. mRNA-free and antibiotic-free, steroid-free, Mississippi-raised beef. Man, it's so good. Try some of that ground beef. As a matter of fact, they got ground beef on sale this month for $7.25 a pound, regardless of the amount. They also have a mini cow option as well. 10 pounds ground beef, 10 pounds of roast, and 5 pounds of steak, all 10% off the list price. Get in touch with Miss Katie Stonington today. You're just going to go online. It's real simple. StoningtonFarm.com. You're going to click the little things that view our cuts. It's got updated pricing. It's got all the different cuts available. I mean, I just talk a lot about hamburger ground beef and and steaks on here. But, man, they offer so much more than just that. Some of the bone broth and all that other stuff and all the different cuts of steak and everything that's available. You can check it out there. There's going to be a phone number there. You're going to call Miss Katie. She's going to answer any questions you may have. And she's going to take your order herself. She's going to text you a photocopy of your receipt with your order, make sure everything's right, exactly how much it's going to be, the whole 9 yards. Excuse me. And boom, you'll meet them in either Brandon, Ridgeland, or Florence at one of their designated meetup spots. You'll get your order. You can't just show up and try to buy it off the truck unless you put your order in. That's not how this works. So you got to order in advance. And you'll thank me later. Just trust me on this. I see the same people every month picking up their order there at the Home Depot parking lot in Brandon whenever they come up here. So you'll probably see me out there. Check them out online, StoningtonFarm.com. I'll remind you every day this week to Thursday, get that order in now. You will not regret it. Best hamburger meat you'll ever use. Man, so good. All right. Let's check out the text line here. Teddy says, you can't tweet when the feds have your phone. Great point. Forgot. I keep slipping my mind that the feds took Chokwe's phone for about a month. On the Guns and Gear text line, Steve says, this text line freezes up on me, man. It's the Google Voice app. So I could create a separate number. Anyway, Steve says the mayor's too busy sunbathing in the Dominican Republic to know what's going on in Jackson on the weekends. That's right. Yeah, he's got that conference on integrity and transparency in Puerto Rico with the other crooked Democrat mayors. Whew, good stuff. Let's see here. I don't know what this is. I don't know. Sorry, I was trying to read some text. Somebody sent me a lot of stuff about an alderman race in Pearl, I guess. It's not really my lane. I'll have to look into it. All right. I think we're caught up on text. The Guns and Gear text line, 769-241-1944. I want to go back. This is only 26 seconds long. I hadn't even listened to it. We're going to do this together. This is WLBT. This is WLBT talking about the shooting. Why is it doing that? It's weird. Anyway, bear with me 1 second. I had to reset it. So I got to run my mouth for 15 seconds so you don't have to hear the ad from the WLBT video, but the video is only 30 seconds. I just don't know if it's any updated information or not. But yeah, I mean, old dude called a second ago can get mad all he wants about me mentioning that black people get away with stuff around here, and they just don't want to accept that. So if it can't be used to fit a political narrative, they don't talk about it, and that's just fact. You're only allowed to mention people involved in bad news. Well, let me rephrase that. I say this all the time. What I've learned since I started doing all this is you're not allowed to mention that somebody's black if they do anything wrong, or unless they've been done wrong or did something good. So first black this, first black that, or whatever. That's the only time you're allowed to mention somebody's black, is if they got done wrong by somebody of another race, or they did something, some accomplishment, some achievement. Any other time, you're not allowed to mention it. Well, I think that's BS. I don't mind mentioning the other times, when they got done wrong, or did something, or accomplished something. I'm not really here to pat you on the back. We don't do accomplishments on this show, so you had to go somewhere else for that. But we don't do that for white people or anybody else either, for that matter. But there's an urban culture rot going on around here, and it's coming on from one group of people. I mean, the overwhelmingly majority, one group of people is urban black Democrats, are causing a lot of hell in and around the city, whether it's the corrupt politicians or the gangbangers out in the streets. I watched a documentary on YouTube yesterday called "Most Dangerous City in Mississippi." This guy does a string of these documentaries. He's like an Indian dude, and it's the most dangerous city filling the state. And he was in Jackson and a couple other little Jackson, Natchez, and somewhere up in the Delta that I'd never even heard of before. And he was interviewing the people, and somebody shared it. He goes, "Man, they made us look bad in this video." No, they didn't. They portrayed y'all extremely accurately. Now, there's a bunch of really good black folks out there who ain't doing this foolishness. Y'all know I'm not talking to y'all. And that's where the line gets blurred here, is a lot of you feel like y'all have to defend the lowest common denominator in your demographic, and you don't. I don't defend white trash. I don't make excuses for white trash's bad behavior. You don't have to make excuse for Jackson thugs. They're trash. And they act like it. Let's take a call. Hey, you're on there.
Yeah, I just wanted to say I was listening to your show, but one thing that stood out to me is the making excuses for certain people. And one big example we saw just a couple of years back, if you recall, was the instance of Greta Bully. She comes from a prominent family owns Bully's Restaurant. Apparently her father is Constable John Brown. And she murdered a man in broad daylight, shot him down with her car, inside of her car, shot outside of her car at a man holding food in his hand, eating his chicken, and she killed him.
Hey, don't forget, she came back and did it again just in case.
Yes, came back and did it again just in case. And not only was she not arrested for murdering this man in broad daylight, her neighbors had to get out in the streets. Poor people in Vernon Addition had to get out to Bullies and protest for weeks in order for the state or the city to do something. So when she was finally indicted, Jody Owens brought her into court. She got a slap on the wrist and was let go back to Madison. But they expect certain people to be able to come into Jackson and lord over us plebeians and us be so ignorant or just so low self-esteem that we think so highly of them that we won't be critical of them. But there's no way in the world that a person should be able to be shot down in broad daylight with witnesses and in such a scandalous fashion. And not only are they not charged, but when they are charged, they're given a slap on the wrist and allowed to go back home to the comfortable home in Madison. So yeah, I mean, it's no excuse. If anybody want to call in and say what you're saying is not true, they ought to be able to give credible reasons where the full weight and credibility of the law was actually held against powerful black people in this city, because I'm not seeing it.
You know, this is before I had a radio show. It was when I first started the Save Jackson platform. You know, I actually broke that story about Greta because I'd been online the night before looking and saw that she had been booked into Hinds County for murder. She and had the book time and the release time. She wasn't out there 2 hours. And I was like, well, hold on. I recognize that name. You know, and I ended up breaking that story, and of course it blew up from there. I don't even know anybody even knew it was me or whatever. But neither here nor there. Yeah, that was when I got on early, man. And that's when I really woke up and started paying attention to what was going on around here. And that's about the same time that my Save Jackson platform pivoted from pictures of empty buildings to what it's turned into, more of a exposing corruption and ridiculousness at this point. But yep, that was the first one. I'm glad you brought that up. It tends to slip my mind every now and then.
Say, last time I called in, I mentioned, you know, it's one thing to address the thugs because we have several news outlets every single night that are going to, at least to some degree, address the mayhem that the thugs wreak havoc on our city. But, you know, had it not been for smaller outlets and for protests, Greta Bully's case would have been swept under the rug. And we see right now in the public comments and the public sentiment that there isn't really a true reckoning with the fact that a person like an Angelique Lee, how she can be ushered into that position. And the only true credibility that she can have is that she comes from a prominent family, and you all think that she may or may not have some money in her bank account somewhere. We haven't been able to reckon with the fact that that's how she was ushered into the seat. And she scammed us. She attempted to scam the city and the constituents of Ward 2. But they're all caught up into this us versus them game. And my question is, I don't know who certain, you know, black people in our community in Jackson think they're going up against. Who is that man? Because as far as I can see, the people they support are in cahoots with white contractors. They're in cahoots with subcontractors of all colors. They're in cahoots with any nefarious group that can come into the city and say, oh, we have X, Y, and Z plans. They have the red carpet rolled out for them. But longstanding neighborhood associations and communities and ordinary people who live and pay taxes are not given the opportunity to actually elevate their neighborhoods or their communities as far as the city assisting them. We don't get that opportunity. Man. So I just wanted to say that.
Another great phone call, brother. Thank you. That's what I love to hear, man. People who can call it out. There is no us versus them. There is no black versus white. There's no white man holding anybody down in Jackson. The people holding Jackson down, you know, are people in Jackson holding it down. There's a group of people here. Kim Wade talks about it a lot. There's a group of people here who are constantly enriching themselves while giving nothing back to the community. They may go out and give some turkeys or some nonsense. They may do a bicycle giveaway. I'll never forget a couple of years ago, a bunch of big drug dealers got together and gave away an 18-wheeler full of bicycles, and it got news coverage. I'm like, what are we doing, guys? What are we doing? But anyway, I digress. It's you can't, and this whole, I need to take a break, but I got to get this off my chest first. This mentality of these people trying to defend Angelique Lee with the everybody's doing it. Well, you know what your mama used to tell you when you was young. Well, you got caught. You got caught. It's like you get pulled over. You and 7 or 8 other cars going down the interstate speeding. Cop pulls you over. You say, everybody else is doing it. Yeah, well, I pulled you over. That's the risk you take when you commit crimes. You may get caught. And that's what they've done. We got some great text on the Guns and Gear text line. I'm going to get to on the other side of the break. This is the Clay Edwards Show. Welcome back into the Clay Edwards Show. Guys, lunch today, Martin's, downtown Jackson, or the all-new location right there at Livingston in Madison County. The town of Livingston is now Martin's at Livingston. They also have the Martin's Market, little gas station. It's open now if you want to grab some breakfast. Stop by if you're out in the area on the corner of 463 and 16, I believe, and get you a chicken biscuit, fill up with gas, And there's chicken biscuits and sausage biscuits made from scratch, biscuits made fresh every morning, hand battered, all that good stuff. Of course, you already know they got the best blue plates, one of the best blue plates in all of central Mississippi every day over there at Martin's. And of course, they had the full menu. You know what I'm going to say? That country fried steak is the go-to. But I'm telling you, if you're watching what you eat, man, they got the grilled chicken tenders. And I can get like that and green beans. And a lot of places overcook their chicken tenders or their grilled chicken patties. Not Martin's. Like you can cut into it and the juice just comes out of it. They got it figured out, the proper cook time on their white meat chicken, and it is so good. You're not sacrificing any quality. Just if you decide to choose a little healthier route and go with the grilled chicken over there. But check them out 7 days a week. Martin's downtown or Martin's at Livingston. Football season is upon us. They're going to have all the games on, all the big screens. They got the outside decks, patios for your smokers or people who just want to enjoy the weather, and much, much more. Cold drinks, live music, great food, good times. Martin's. Check them out online, Martin's Downtown, jxn.com. I'm not sure if there's a website for the Livingston location, but they got a Facebook page. Just go search Martin's Livingston for the live music lineups. All right, while we're railing on Jackson, let's read a few texts real quick, and then something from the airport. Spartacus just said the Daiquiri bar is closed until further notice. I did see that. I think that's something that they chose. I actually know the owner of the Daiquiri bar. I hate this is happening to him, but as a former nightclub owner, man, I'm just going to tell y'all something. I said this on the show not too long ago. The easiest thing you can do is keep somebody from getting shot in your bar. Like, to me, that's just like the bare minimum requirement for operating a business, especially one that has security guards and you're searching people as they come in. You have to be able to keep guns out of your club. You just do. Now, this also can make the argument, like my buddy Tyler Tharp, who's a big 2A guy. This actually lends credence to his argument that good guys with guns should be able to take theirs into places with alcohol. And if you have lax security, letting people sneak in Glock switches, guns with Glock switches, I don't know. I'm conflicted. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole, make this a 2A conversation. We had 2 people check you before you got in my club. Once on the street level, once at the mezzanine when you paid. Once or twice, we had somebody get a gun past the first security guard. The second guy called it. We fired the first guy. You got one job, bro. You got one job. So, and I don't want to sit here and blame it on the club, because the club didn't make the guy sneak the gun in and shoot the people. So be real clear there. But I imagine there's going to be some liability issues here. And but these are the venues that the mayor wanted downtown. He got them. Something else that they're doing a terrible job with at the city of Jackson is the airport. I had a friend of mine call me Friday. He was like, "Clay, have you ridden down the new airport parkway and noticed Brandon keeps their grass cut, Flowood keeps their grass cut, but the part of the parkway that's managed by the city of Jackson and the airport authority, they don't keep their grass cut. They don't keep it cleaned up. None of that. You got this beautiful new parkway coming through there. And Jackson, the part Jackson's responsible for, paint me shocked in being taken care of. And that's just on the outside. I got a friend of mine who flies out of town a good bit for work, tagged me in a photo yesterday. I screenshot it and shared it across my social platforms. And it's a picture of the broken escalator inside the airport. And on the surface, you may just say, well, Clay, stuff breaks. They got to get it scheduled to fix, so on and so forth. I'm going to read what she posted here. She says, "This has not been working since April. What are they waiting on? Why don't they just fix this? In July, the elevator was not working as well, so you had no choice but to carry your luggage upstairs. Really? Everyone isn't able to do that. Do better, people." Then she says, "Update. A stall in the ladies' restroom has a door missing." She says, "Are we running a downtown? Are we at a rundown nightclub or an airport?" It's very funny because Jackson is ran like a rundown nightclub. It really is. They run it like a rundown nightclub. That's the best analogy I've heard in a while. And, of course, in the comments, people are talking about other things that are talking about how long that thing's actually been screwed up. And somebody else said that, it's actually a nice introduction to Jackson. If you're just flying in, you get to the airport, you see all the stuff wrong, and it helps prepare you and not set any false expectations for the kind of city you're about to venture off into. But I say all that to say this. While the city is a wounded duck, while you have council people, the DA, and possibly the mayor, allegedly, fighting for their freedoms, it would be a really good time to come in for the state legislator, have a special session, and take back the airport. Yes, take it back. I also think it's a good time to go ahead and change the laws or whatever it is they got to do. And I have reached out to my councilman. I have reached out to my state representative and told him my opinions. Fred Shanks has a phone full of texts from me with all my great ideas. And it's time for them to put Jackson in a conservatorship of some sort. I don't know how they got to do it, what the legalities are figuring that out, but it's time to do that and try to get Jackson back straight. Because, it's like the previous phone calls we talked about. It's just everybody wants theirs. Everybody thinks I can do it without getting caught. I want my cut. I want in on these contracts, these minority set-aside contracts. I mean, that's why Chokwe's fighting Jackson Water tooth and nail for the ability to steer those contracts. I mean, he's just doing it wide ass out in the open because he wants his cut from his preferred contractors, in my opinion, allegedly. So it's time for the adults to get back in the room. The petulant children have destroyed the city. And and the thing is, it obviously affects the surrounding cities negatively. And my buddy of mine's a cop for Richland, posted something. I shared it on Facebook yesterday. We really don't give Richland enough credit for being as good as they are, of keeping Richland safe as close as it is to Jackson. Same for Pearl. And Flowood, frankly. The fact that they let the cops be the cops, and y'all just don't know the crap they put up with that don't make the news. The stuff they do. Now, some of y'all will call it racism because it's cops pulling over Jacksonians and tuning them up. Well, if they're doing something wrong, they got what they deserve. What do we call it here? Fa-foed. Let's come back and land the plane for the day. Welcome back in as we get ready to land the plane here today. I want to thank Dr. Michael Walker, Men's Health of Mississippi New Care, for coming on, talking to us about compounded semaglutide. It's a generic name for Ozempic, and they got it available there at Men's Health of Mississippi. That was a great talk. I want to thank callers, even the ones that disagree with me, for calling in. You got me fired up today. I appreciate that. Get my blood pressure pumped up on a Monday morning. We got a big week of shows planned for y'all this week. Can't wait. We got coming up next, I think you got the Chip Matthews show, followed by Jameson Haygood from 10 to noon. And then, of course, Kim Wade, Radio Strongman, going to bring us home 4 to 6 today to wrap up our live entertainment here on WYB. I will see y'all tomorrow morning, same time.